So we're just kind of exploring the, I don't know what this is, where they're building all the different bikes, and I ran into Apoorv. How's it going?
Hi.
And he's the general manager here. And you've got like a mechanical engineering and an MBA from Michigan, or?
That's correct.
That's
I have
awesome.
a PhD in mechanical engineering.
A PhD. I'm sorry, doctor.
No worries. And then an MBA from the University of Michigan.
Okay, and you joined Organic Transit, it sounds like, to create, just to scale up and to make a higher quality product and really refine the thing. Is that right?
That's correct. So I was with Ford Motor Company for 16 years before
Wow.
I joined Organic Transit. And the reason I'm here is to scale up the company. So Organic Transit is a startup. We have sold 300 elves in the first year,
That's
but
awesome.
we want to sell 1,200 and several thousands in the years to come. So scaling up is really a challenge for any small company, because
Right.
what works well when you are a startup, the entrepreneurial culture, the innovative spirit, can kind of come in your way in some ways when you're scaling up, because you need to get much more disciplined about your processes. You need to write them down, be much more structured, focus on your people, their technical skills, growing them as individuals, coming up with development plans for them, and of course focus on your product,
Right.
which is the most important one. So the idea is the elf is what it is. We were continuously evolving it, but we are coming up with different variants of the elf. So there's a police elf, then there's an elf for people who are disabled, there'll be an elf for people in developing countries, there'll be an elf for all kinds of people with whatever needs that they have.
Wow.
And then an elf for commercial usage and things like that.
It's inspiring.
It is very
Did you help design the T-shirt, by the way?
No,
this?
I didn't.
No, okay.
It was here before I
You
came.
you talk about refining, and I got to take a test ride on the new version 1.5, and it's got that sort of improved suspension and a better motor, and it sounds like it's a sort of custom-made motor just for you guys. So you're building these relationships with other companies.
That's correct. So, like with any small company, partnerships are really important. Partnerships with our vendors, with our customers, with the government, and any other entity that cares about the environment and what we're doing.
Right.
So with limited resources, you focus on partnerships, and that's really important.
Well, and it sounds like you came from Ford, and I know they've got a bunch of hybrids and things like that.
I was
so-
actually in the hybrid division at Ford.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! What kind of car do you drive?
Fusion hybrid.
Ford Fusion Hybrid.
Yeah.
This is so cool, and it's neat just to hands-on, right? Like be here and touch these things and see how they drive. What's been the coolest part for you since you've joined the company? Do you drive one of these around? And
Yeah, of course. Every day we ride around in the elf. The coolest part is just how fun it is. When you think of environmentalism and you think of sustainability, a lot of times you think of asking people for making a sacrifice. But here there is no sacrifice in that sense. It's actually having fun while you're helping the environment,
Right.
while you're not burning any fuels. So that's, to me, is the coolest part. And the other big part is just the smiles that I see on people's faces
Yeah.
when they are riding in an elf. And the first time they're a little bit timid, they're a little bit concerned because it's something new to them.
Sure.
And within a minute, you see the change in them. They feel their body language changes and their mouths just open up in a grin. And that, to me, is very satisfying.
Huh. Well, it seems like you're doing a great job. You keep saying, "Oh, small company," but I look around and you've got these processes in place now that they're pretty efficient, and the pricing on these is surprisingly good, even compared to just like bicycle style electric bikes.
Right. I mean, that's something we have made a conscious decision on, is to keep the pricing at an affordable point. And if you compare it to a car takes about $9,000 on average per year in
Wow.
terms of all the costs
Insurance,
of
licensing,
fuel costs.
repairs.
Exactly, maintenance, etc. But here there is no cost. Once you've paid for the elf, there is no more cost.
Right.
Just simple maintenance, the bike-related stuff.
Yeah, and you mentioned just the health aspects, but there's also sort of these community aspects that you're out and about. You can see people, you can say hello, you're building relationships. And I've always loved solar, and so to see this application, I mean, who hasn't thought like, if I had an electric car and I charged it with and this is kind of what this is.
Yeah.
You guys
So
are
that really helps, because like Prius has a solar panel on top, but that's
for the air conditioning,
for the
right?
air
While you're
exactly.
yeah.
for passive ventilation.
Yeah.
At Ford we also looked at it, but here the solar panel can actually do meaningful charging for you because your battery is much smaller. You're carrying a vehicle that's only 150 pounds versus a hybrid that's 3,000 pounds. So it makes a big difference in our ability to use solar power.
About how long does it take? Because it sounds like you've got a 60 watt or a 100 watt version.
So from 1.5, 100 watt is a standard solar panel. So we won't even sell 60 watts anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was V1, right?
That's the V1.
Okay.
So a 100 watt solar panel with 100% efficiency can charge our battery in about 5 hours.
Wow.
But of course, it's never.
Right. There's that bird
100%.
poop
There's
up there.
always-
There's always
exactly.
something.
Plus, the sun is not always shining
Sure.
brightly. So we have done some testing. It shows about 7 to 8 hours
Okay.
to fully charge it.
7 to 8 hours. Wow. And you talk about all of these different models and just the different audiences. I heard about like a truck kind of thing, and it seems like you're tapped into the community and the
Yeah,
people who
very
use
much.
these.
Yeah.
And
And our first customers are our staunchest supporters. So we call them our ambassadors.
yeah,
And we pay great attention to what they're saying about the product and how it's helping them and what new features they would like, and we're constantly trying to innovate based on feedback we receive from them.
so for me, like, I'm a guy who, like, I live in town and I want to get around and maybe use this as a light electric vehicle, but it seems like it qualifies as a bicycle because you've got the pedals and you've got these
Yeah, so
gears.
legally, it's a bicycle.
Okay.
So the motor is limited to only 20 miles an hour,
Okay.
which is what the CPSC regulation requires.
Right.
So it can go on any bike trails,
Paths and
anywhere,
everything
any
through
bike-
parks.
through parks, everywhere, wherever a bicycle is allowed.
Okay.
The elf can go.
That's neat, and that's just really, I guess, empowering. I have thought about, a gas scooter or some of these other options, and I think people talk about that sometimes, like, oh, you can get a gas scooter and go far, but you also it's more dangerous. Like, you're riding in heavy traffic.
A two-wheeler is inherently more dangerous.
Right.
There's almost nothing to protect you from a car or something, a bigger vehicle. Here you have 4 feet of space between you and the nearest vehicle. Plus, the elf looks cute, so it
Yeah.
gets a lot of attention.
A lot of attention.
And instead of being, instead of people being angry, they're actually smiling.
I got some of that on the, I was doing the review and the guy was like, hey, what is that, So it can get you dates. Is that what I hear?
Yeah,
Like,
it's good.
that's what the 2-seat edition is for. Or I think I saw one with children's seats in the back over there. So you guys are thinking
We're
ahead.
working on jump seats to allow more than one person to sit.
This is so cool. I really appreciate the time that you guys have spent, and again, it's inspiring to see people doing something, starting kind of from scratch, really. But you've got good experience with the founding team and sort of veterans in the bicycle space, and now the automobile space too. So thank you so much.
Sure. I mean, a lot of people talk about sustainable mobility, but there's very few that are actually doing something with a product that allows people to move sustaintably.
Yeah.
And this is one of them.
And again, the price, like on a base level elf, is what is it, like $5,500 or something?
$500, yeah.
I mean, that's pretty sweet. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.